Ever wondered what happens when a team wins a game but still loses the race? Let's dive into the paradoxical world of sports where victory isn't always what it seems. Picture this: the Detroit Red Wings, pumped with adrenaline, battle it out on ice against the Montreal Canadiens. It's a nail-biter that goes right down to the wire, ending in a thrilling 5-4 shootout victory for the Red Wings. But wait, there's a twist. Even as the Red Wings players are exchanging high fives, the news trickles in. Despite their victory, they've missed out on the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Washington Capitals, who were presumably at home binge-watching their favorite TV show, clinched the wild card spot. Talk about a plot twist. The Red Wings staged a comeback that could have been the stuff of legends, overturning a 3-goal deficit. David Perron, their knight in shining armor, scored the tying goal with just 5 seconds left in the third period. You could practically hear the collective gasp from the spectators, but alas, it was a victory that tasted a little sour. Even their goalie, James Reimer, who made 29 saves, couldn't save their playoff dreams. And let's not forget Patrick Kane, who sealed the win in the shootout. But unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things, it was like acing a test, but still failing the class. And what about the Canadiens? Well, they led 4-1 before Detroit staged their comeback. And despite their loss, they get to smirk a little because, well, they're not the ones who won a battle, but lost the war. In the end, it's a classic case of irony, a victory that feels a bit like a defeat. It's like being the first to cross the finish line, only to realize you were running the wrong race. So, while the Red Wings were busy popping champagne corks, the Capitals were the ones booking their playoff tickets. Now let's talk about the heroes of the hour, or should I say, the heroes of the last 5 seconds. Let's start with David Perron. Picture this: the clock's ticking down, the sweat's pouring, the crowd's roaring, and then Perron, cool as a cucumber, fires off a shot that finds the back of the net. It's like he had a hot date and the puck was his +1. His goal, scored with just 5 seconds left on the clock, was the stuff of legends and more than a little reminiscent of that guy who turns in his assignment just before the deadline. Next up, we have Patrick Kane, our shootout maestro. Now Kane doesn't just score goals, no, he weaves them into existence like a magician conjuring a rabbit from a hat. The shootout was his stage. He didn't disappoint, sealing the victory for the Red Wings with a flourish. It was a performance that would have had even Houdini nodding in approval. But let's not forget the rest of the crew. Moritz Seider, Joe Veleno, and Daniel Sprong also chipped in with goals, proving that the Red Wings aren't just a one-man show. It's like a well-orchestrated ensemble where everyone knows their part and plays it to perfection. And of course, there's James Reimer, our man between the posts. He made 29 saves, each one as important as the last. He was like a brick wall, just a whole lot more agile and with better reflexes. His performance was a masterclass in goalkeeping, a lesson in how to keep your cool when the heat is on. And that, folks, is how you score a goal with the same urgency as someone catching the last bus home. On the other side of the rink, the Canadiens might have been thinking, we led 4-1. How did we end up here? Now, that's a question for the ages, isn't it? Let's delve into the Canadiens' performance that night, shall we? The Canadiens, they started off strong. Yes, they did. Juraj Slavkovsky, that young gun, he was a force to be reckoned with. He showed up and showed off, notching a goal and an assist. Oh, he must have been feeling on top of the world, probably thinking, this is my night. can't fault the guy for feeling invincible. He was lighting up the scoreboard after all. And then there's Brendan Gallagher. Gallagher, the ever reliable, also had himself a night. He matched Slavkovsky's efforts with a goal and an assist of his own. The dynamic duo, Slavkovsky and Gallagher, they were leading the charge for the Canadiens. With a 4-1 lead, they probably thought they had this game in the bag. But, as the old saying goes, it ain't over till it's over. And boy, did the Red Wings make sure of that. The Canadiens, they must have been looking at the scoreboard, then back at the Red Wings, then back at the scoreboard, scratching their heads in disbelief. Imagine being Slavkovsky and Gallagher, having played your heart out, only to watch the Red Wings claw their way back into the game. They must have been thinking, did we accidentally wake a sleeping giant? Well, that's hockey for you, a game of unexpected twists and turns. And let's not forget, Logan Mailloux made his NHL debut that night. A momentous occasion, no doubt, but probably not the outcome he'd envisioned. But hey, that's just the nature of the game. You win some, you lose some, and sometimes you lead 4-1 and still end up on the wrong side of the result. Well, the Canadiens might have had a Houston, we have a problem moment there. So what does this all mean for our beloved Red Wings, you might ask? Well, it's a bit like being crowned king of a castle that's already been conquered. Yes, they won the battle against the Montreal Canadiens, but alas, the war for the playoffs is lost. In a twist of fate, our Red Wings find themselves in a bittersweet symphony. Picture this. You've just finished a marathon, sweat dripping, heart pounding, and you cross the finish line with a triumphant roar. But then you look around and realize you're the only one celebrating. Everyone else has packed up and gone home because the race was over an hour ago. That's a bit how our Red Wings must be feeling right now, tasting the sweet victory of the night, but missing out on the savory playoffs. This game was a roller coaster ride of emotion. One moment they're down by 3, and the next they're staging a comeback of epic proportion. The Red Wings snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, only to find out that the real prize, the playoff berth, had already been claimed by the Washington Capitals. It's like winning the lottery but losing the ticket. But let's not forget, this game was a testament to the Red Wings' resilience, their never say die spirit. They played their hearts out, and even when the odds were stacked against them, they pulled off an incredible comeback. The Red Wings may not have secured a playoff spot, but they've certainly secured a place in our hearts. You gotta appreciate the irony here. It's not every day that a team celebrates a win and mourns a loss at the same time. It's a strange feeling, like laughing at a funeral or eating a donut while running on a treadmill. But that sports for you is never just black and white. In the end, the Red Wings might just be the happiest team to ever miss out on the playoffs. Talk about finding sunshine in a rainstorm.